Welcome to the Morning Walk with Murty Digital Stroll.
Glad to be here for this one.
So, imagine landing a totally guaranteed position on the safest, most luxurious corporate cruise ship in the world.
Right, the kind where the whole route is mapped out for you.
Exactly. The buffet is fully stocked, the itinerary is set in stone, and honestly, all you have to do is just swab your one assigned deck until retirement.
Sounds incredibly safe.
It is.
Yeah.
But now I want you to imagine deliberately jumping off that massive ship into the open ocean just to help a stranger build a tiny, unpredictable raft.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that is quite the leap.
Right. That completely counterintuitive leap is exactly what we are exploring today. We're looking at a career path that basically throws the traditional map right out the window.
Which is, quite frankly, necessary right now. Because that traditional map, it's running on fundamentally outdated software.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole concept of the linear career, study, get a corporate job, climb the ladder, retire, it simply doesn't compute in the current environment.
So let's quickly establish the framework for anyone joining us on this Gurukul session. I am stepping into the role of the wisdom seeker today.
Which fits you perfectly.
Well, thanks. My focus is always going to be on the human element, I'm totally obsessed with the learning-centric ethos of what we call Gurukul 2.0.
Absolutely.
I really want to know how we, as flesh and blood humans, actually adapt, learn, and grow when the pressure is dialed all the way up to a 10.
And my lens is the overarching structure. As the strategic auditor and as the architect of Antaryami and the mentor of the Antaryami VA Academy, I tend to look at the systems at play.
You see the matrix, basically.
Exactly. I'm analyzing structural changes, what we term digital migration, and seeing how raw human behavior actually translates into scalable functional systems.
Well, our mission today centers on a real-world source. It's this fascinating post from Humans of Hyderabad about a young woman named Rishita.
A great case study.
It really is. And we aren't just summarizing a timeline of a stranger's life here. We're taking her specific real-world experiences and passing them through the digital prism.
Right, because filtering her story through the digital prism allows us to, cut through the noise of daily events. We can isolate the underlying algorithms of success.
We are actively searching for the legacy code.
Exactly. The legacy code of Project Antaryami that's hidden within her actions. It's really about finding the blueprint for how anyone listening can rewrite their own professional systems.
Moving from a state of rigid comfort to dynamic growth.
Precisely.
But let's get right into the origin point. Rishita's foundational background starts in Warangal.
Okay, so a slightly smaller city environment.
Yeah, a smaller city. But she clearly possessed this intense internal drive to build a career on her own terms. So, like a lot of ambitious young people, she initiates a geographic migration first.
That makes sense. Seeking out a higher bandwidth environment. Exactly. She moves to Hyderabad after graduation, carrying this belief that a major tech hub will unlock her potential. And initially, she follows the classic, heavily programmed success script to the letter.
Let me guess, a massive multinational.
Yep. She lands a job at Amazon.
The ultimate, globally optimized legacy system.
It really is. And she stays there for about a year and a half. She actually openly credits Amazon for giving her a tremendous foundation of stability and discipline.
I mean, you walk into a massive corporation like that and everything is already figured out for you.
Right. The KPIs are clear, the hierarchy is visible, the payroll is never, ever late.
You are essentially handed a user manual for how to survive.
But this is where her story gets super interesting. Despite all that comfort, she realizes she doesn't want to just be a tiny gear in a massive machine.
She wants more system-level access.
Exactly. She wants to be part of an early-stage journey where her daily efforts directly shape a growing vision from the ground up. So she actually leaves Amazon to jump into a startup environment.
That is a massive digital migration. Wait, I have to stop you there for a second because we need to really look at the psychology of this move.
Okay, lay it on me.
Leaving an unsinkable luxury cruise ship like Amazon to go build a tiny raft makes literally no sense if you are already safe.
From a legacy perspective, sure.
I mean, you have the structural integrity of the cruise ship, you have the resume prestige. Why deliberately choose the immense, unpredictable struggle of the raft when you've already made it to the safe ship?
It defies conventional logic to walk away from golden handcuffs, I'll give you that.
Right. Why do it?
Well, it only defies logic if your primary objective is just survival and comfort. If we view this through the framework of digital migration, we see something much deeper than a simple job change.
Okay, how so?
This was a fundamental structural migration of her personal operating system. When you are on that corporate cruise ship, You're a passenger.
Even if you're an employee.
Yes.
Right.
Even if you are a highly valued employee, you are running on legacy corporate comfort. The ship's route was programmed years before you even arrived.
That's a good point.
And your impact is heavily insulated by layers and layers of management.
So you're basically just maintaining the system, not building it.
And that is the crux of it. As the architect of Interiami, I constantly observe professionals who become entirely trapped by their own stability.
Wow. Trapped by stability.
Yeah, their skills actually atrophy because they never have to face the raw elements. Rashida recognized that true legacy code isn't written by being a caretaker for someone else's giant machine.
She wanted to write the code herself.
Exactly. She traded legacy comfort for agility. On the raft, every single paddle stroke determines whether you sink or sail.
The stakes are immediate.
That immediate life-or-death feedback loop is where genuine grit is compiled. She essentially uninstalled her corporate stability protocol because she realized it was ultimately limiting her processing power.
Limiting her potential to build something from the ground floor.
Precisely.
Okay, framing it as a deliberate upgrade rather than a reckless jump totally changes the perspective for me. So the raft she decided to help build is a company called Glow Smart India.
A hygiene tech startup, right?
Yeah, hygiene tech startup based in Hyderabad. And this environment brings us right into the heart of Gurukul 2.0 in action.
Which is fascinating because it's a transition from a purely digital corporate space to physical hardware innovation.
And hardware is notoriously unforgiving. Let's look at the factual reality of what she stepped into. Glow Smart India is led by a founder and CEO named Pramod Gundla.
Okay.
His core vision is straightforward but super ambitious. He says, let's work together for clean cities.
I like that. Very clear objective.
Yeah, and they are operating in this highly niche market, developing completely automated kiosks for personal gear.
Oh, interesting. Like what kind of gear?
Well, they have the HelmetTron for helmet disinfection and the StepTron for shoe sterilization.
Building and deploying physical automation like that requires an immense amount of operational bandwidth.
It's totally wild.
Because you aren't just dealing with code anymore, right? You are dealing with mechanics, real-world logistics, and highly unpredictable user behavior.
It is a massive pivot. And this is exactly where the reality of the startup clashes violently with the traditional corporate structure she left behind.
I can imagine.
Because officially, on paper, Rashitha's designation is video editor and front office assistant.
Okay, in a legacy company, those are two very distinct, heavily siloed roles.
Completely siloed. You sit at a desk, you edit your video on Premiere Pro, you answer the phone, and you go home.
Right.
But her actual reality on the floor is entirely different.
Yeah.
She notes that in an early stage team, you just don't stick to a designation because you have to treat the company like it's your own.
You have to expand your functionality.
So most days, she isn't just sitting in front of a monitor. She is physically out there managing these HelmetTron kiosks.
On the street.
Yes.
Yeah.
Think about the friction of getting a total stranger in Hyderabad to put their personal motorcycle helmet into a brand new strange machine.
Oh, the trust barrier there would be huge.
Yeah. Huge. So she has to talk to curious riders, handle the operations, manage the desk, and then pivot to somehow edit social media content. They're expanding so rapidly that everyone just steps up wherever needed.
That's classic startup agility.
But I have to challenge this from the human perspective, though.
Yeah.
As the wisdom seeker, I'm looking at this and thinking, if you are officially a video editor, but you are out there doing customer education, fixing kiosks, and running operations, isn't that just a recipe for total burnout?
Right.
I mean, it sounds less like a functional job and more like a chaotic juggling act where you are bound to drop half the balls.
Yeah.
How is that level of context switching sustainable for a human being?
Okay, you're right. It is absolutely exhausting.
Right.
The cognitive load of switching from marketing to operations to customer service in a single hour is immense. And she openly admits that.
Yeah, she doesn't hide the struggle.
But if we use the digital prism to reframe this chaos, what looks like dropping balls to a legacy mindset is actually the ultimate manifestation of Gurukul 2.0.
Okay, walk me through the mechanics of that. How exactly does chaos equal learning?
So in a legacy corporate system, a job title is a rigid boundary. Like video editor means you only process video data.
Right.
If a customer has a problem with a physical product, the corporate system essentially returns an error message. Not my department.
Go talk to customer service.
Exactly. And sure, that efficiency feels safe, but it creates a massive blind spot. The marketer doesn't actually know what the customer hates about the product.
Because they never talk to them.
Right. But in Gurukul 2.0, rigid job titles are just obsolete software.
Wow, obsolete software.
Yeah. As mentor of the Antarami VA Academy, I constantly emphasize that agility requires total integration. The chaos you are describing is actually a high-speed, closed-loop learning environment.
Closed-loop learning. Tell me more about that.
Consider the mechanics here. When Rashida steps out of the video editor role to physically explain the HelmetTron to a skeptical writer, she is gathering raw, real-time user feedback. She sees their hesitation firsthand. She hears their specific questions. That friction directly informs how she edits the promotional video in the next hour.
Because she knows exactly what objections to counter in the video.
Exactly. The operations work makes her marketing work infinitely sharper.
That is a really tight feedback loop. She doesn't have to wait for like a quarterly consumer report to know what the customer wants.
No, she just talked to 10 of them while fixing the kiosk.
That's brilliant.
The drop balls you mentioned, those are just rapid iterations. It is a bug fix in real time. She is learning the entire ecosystem of a business simultaneously.
Product operations, customer psychology, marketing, all of it.
Yes. A highly specialized, narrow job title at Amazon would never permit that level of cross-functional deployment.
So she is essentially refusing to let a piece of paper dictate her curriculum.
Precisely.
She explicitly states in the post that this unpredictable hustle has taught her way more than any rigid job title ever could. She is truly embodying the wisdom seeker ethos by actively engaging with the friction.
And that integration of skills is the absolute core of a successful digital migration. You don't just change employers, you fundamentally migrate your entire approach to problem solving.
But a system running at that high of a processing speed, constantly learning, iterating, failing, it generates an enormous amount of stress.
It does. A system can easily overheat.
Right. It requires a specific kind of infrastructure to prevent a total crash. And that brings us to the hidden architecture of her story.
The support system.
Yes, the foundational architecture of trust and support. Because giving up the prestige and comfort of a major tech giant to, let's be real, clean helmets in a startup, that is not a socially easy transition.
Not at all.
Building trust for a brand new concept in a traditional market brings what she beautifully calls quiet struggles.
Quiet struggles. That is a phenomenal phrase. It perfectly encapsulates the invisible friction of innovation.
It really does.
It's the self-doubt at 2 a.m, the anxiety of explaining your weird career path to relatives, the exhaustion of a failed product rollout.
And she credits her survival through all of these unseen, quiet challenges entirely to the unwavering support of her family and the guides who believed in her.
Their belief acted as the failsafe.
Exactly. It was the safety net when things got incredibly tough. And furthermore, she credits the city of Hyderabad itself.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she views it as a place where hard work is met with matching opportunity, provided you just hold your ground and trust the process.
That's a powerful way to look at an environment.
It is. But we need to pause here because this challenges a massive cultural myth.
Okay, I'm listening.
If you are listening to this, you have probably been fed the narrative of the self-made hustler.
Oh, the solo grinder trope. Constantly.
Startup culture loves to glorify that lone genius, right?
Yeah.
Working 18-hour days entirely on their own sheer willpower.
Grinding it out with zero sleep.
Exactly. But extracting the legacy code from Rashita's actual lived experience reveals something completely different.
It usually does.
Are we basically obsessing over the visible branches of the tree? The individual hustle, the sweat equity, the long hours, while completely ignoring that the invisible root system of family, mentors, and community is the actual code keeping the entire thing alive.
Yes. We almost always ignore the root system because, honestly, the hustle is just more glamorous to talk about on social media.
Right.
But a strategic auditor knows that no system, whether it's biological or digital, operates in a void. A successful digital migration simply cannot happen without robust underlying infrastructure.
Because humans are not machines.
Exactly. We have emotional bandwidth limits.
Right.
If Rashita's grit and adaptability are the active software running the startup, then her family and her mentors are the foundational hardware.
The servers keeping it online.
Yes. When you leave a safe job, the psychological pressure is immense. The support network acts as the server infrastructure that absorbs that excess stress.
It gives you the buffer you need to fail.
It provides the psychological safety required to take massive professional risks. Without her family's belief acting as a fail-safe, those quiet struggles would have caused a total system failure.
They allowed her to actually execute the high-risk protocols of Gurukul 2.0.
Precisely. And extending that out to the broader environment, her perspective on Hyderabad is fascinating.
Yeah, how she views the city itself as part of the equation.
It's not just a backdrop, it's an active participant in her success. In our digital framework, a city like Hyderabad acts as the ultimate open source environment.
Okay, contrast that with a closed source environment for me.
Well, in older legacy societal systems, your background, your hometown, your pedigree, those are closed source limitations.
They dictate what doors you are even allowed to walk through.
Exactly. But an open source environment operates purely on merit and output. It simply says, show me what you can build.
Oh, I love that.
If you show up with purpose, if you run the Gurukul 2.0 protocols of cross-functional learning and sheer hard work, then your original source code, like the fact that you came from a smaller city like Warangal, it doesn't limit your future output.
The environment just scales to match your energy.
Yes, the environment scales to match your ambition.
Your original source code doesn't limit your future output. That captures the entire journey right there.
It really does.
It explains exactly how she could migrate from Warangal to a giant like Amazon, and then possess the psychological safety to leap from Amazon to become a frontline innovator at GlomaSmart, India.
She trusted the open source nature of the city.
Yeah, and she leaned entirely on her foundational root system when the daily chaos tested her limits.
Synthesizing those elements, the ambition, the environment, and the support structure, that is exactly what it means to extract the legacy code.
So as we initiate the shutdown sequence for today's digital stroll, let's explicitly synthesize this legacy code so you can apply it to your own trajectory.
Good idea. Let's break it down. First, we identified the conscious embrace of digital migration.
Right, taking that leap.
It requires a hard, honest look at your current situation to identify when a comfortable legacy system, like the corporate cruise ship, is no longer protecting you, but is actually limiting your potential.
It takes calculated courage to trade that artificial safety for the agility and grit required to go build the raft.
Absolutely. Second, we see the absolute necessity of adopting Gurukul 2.0.
Tearing up the job description.
It's the realization that rigid job titles are just obsolete in a rapidly changing world. Real growth happens in the messy chaos of cross-functional deployment.
You really have to treat the entire operation as your own personal learning ground.
Actively seeking out the friction between different roles.
Yeah.
Whether you are editing a video or convincing a stranger on the street to try a new piece of hardware.
And third, it is the vital recognition that unwavering support is the invisible infrastructure of success.
No one compiles legacy code entirely alone.
Never. You need to seek out or cultivate an open source environment of opportunity. And you absolutely must rely on the foundational infrastructure of family and mentors to sustain you through the high-speed processing and those quiet struggles of innovation.
Very well said.
So if you're listening to this, we want you to take a hard look at your own operating system today.
Run an audit on yourself.
Yeah. Are you currently clinging to the comfort of an Amazon-style legacy structure simply because it feels safe?
Or are you ready to embrace the unpredictable, messy, cross-functional hustle of a Gurukul 2.0 mindset?
Because the fundamental choice is whether you want to spend your life maintaining someone else's system or taking the real risk to build your own.
Exactly.
And we want to leave you with a final lingering thought to explore on your own. It builds on everything we've unpacked today, from the obsolete nature of corporate titles to the gritty reality of the daily hustle.
Think about this one carefully.
Ask yourself this question honestly. If your official job title was completely erased tomorrow, what would the legacy code of your daily actions actually prove you do?
That is the most critical question for any personal system audit.
Let that sit with you. Thank you for joining us on this Gurukul session. Keep walking, keep questioning the structures around you, and keep extracting the wisdom hidden in plain sight. Until next time.